Hello, everyone. So this is going to be the second episode of the podcast, A Whole New World. I have decided to change everything from video to audio now because I have had a lot of difficulty trying to upload my videos. And actually, this particular episode, I have been trying to. This is the third time I'm recording. The last two videos I have just been completely unable to post. I even got myself a cheaper phone to record in lesser video quality, and even that didn't work. It because it worked, but then I'm unable to do anything with that phone. I'm not even able to transfer that file or get on the internet with it. I'm just getting so frustrated. So I have been successful with the voice recordings, uploading them, so I'm going to continue with that. And as you can imagine, this is literally so frustrating. So this is the third time I'm recording this particular episode, and I hope that this time everything will come out the way it's supposed to. Third time lucky, right? That's interesting, because I had a message from a tarot reader that said something about third time is the charm, or third time lucky. Anyway, okay, so let's see. What I wanted to say with this is, so as you know, this episode is about idealism, and I want to start by talking about a book that I love called The Host. It's by Stephanie Meyer, and it's, I think, a less well-known... Hold on a second, there's some police sirens going on. Okay. So The Host is by Stephanie Meyer. It's a less well-known, I think, book compared to her Twilight series. Anyway, so in that book, basically, aliens from another planet literally come to Earth, and they're called souls, and they're inserted into the human being, and this usually erases the human and basically kills the human, but then the body is still functioning under the control of this alien soul. So the protagonist is a soul called Wanderer, called Wanda for short. She is inserted into the body of Melanie Strider, who is a human who knew about this before insertion. So she was a rebel. She was fighting for her life. And as a result, what happened is, when they inserted Wanda's soul into Melanie's body, Melanie did not disappear. She stayed. Her consciousness stayed. So we end up having two identities, two people in the same body. And it's, kind of a struggle between them. And then they end up becoming friends. And then they end up going to live in a human community that is basically a community of human survivors who are in hiding from the souls who have taken over their world. So the reason I'm talking about this is because of that community. Both the community the souls created, and the community that the humans survivors have created within this big Earth. So within that community, but outside of it, because they parallel each other in many ways, even though they're totally different species and created for totally different reasons. Souls, by definition, the aliens, they're by definition altruistic, kind, good. They have nothing non-violent, and they basically take over the earth to save it. They save the planet, they save the environment, they get rid of disease, they heal, even like people who have done something wrong, like pedophiles, they turn themselves in because it's now the soul that's driving the body. So the soul turns itself in for treatment. So apart from the whole, they murder people by their existence, they're supposed to be the best type of kindest souls out, kindest beings out there. So that is kind of the premise of it. And in this society, there is no concept of money. Every soul does their job, which is called a calling, so like a vocation. So for example, Wanda is a storyteller. She's a professor in a history professor in a lecturer, and she goes and gives lectures on all the lives she's lived on the different planets, because she's lived, I think, 9 different planets. So she has a lot to say and a lot to teach. That is her vocation, and she doesn't get paid for that, but then she doesn't need to pay for rent or pay groceries. She basically is given a space for herself. She goes to the grocery store and gets things that she needs. She takes her turn at jobs like the waste collection, sanitary worker, all those kind of less palatable jobs. So all of that she does. So this is how their community works. And everyone is kind. There's no malice. There's no violence. There's no crime. Everyone helps each other. No one lies to each other. And that is their community. And then I want to talk about the other community, that's the human survivors, where again there is no money because money is meaningless. And every single person has to do chores. I mean, for them, it's about, we're human, so we grumble. So no one really wants to work, but everyone knows you have to work for the well-being of everyone. You do it for each other, kind of like the others, the alien beings. So again, there are chores that need to be doing every day. So the cooking, so they make their own bread, they make their own soup. What is it with the police sirens today? They make their own soap. They grow crops. Washing dishes. So all these chores, everyone takes turns. And they share. So every so often, a group of people go out and on raids where they basically scavenge food and supplies from the world outside, and they bring it back, and then everyone has to basically share that out equally, and ration and etc. It's like a little bit like a war situation. When during the wars they had that ration system, it's a bit like that, I guess. And everyone was stuck. But this is what I want to talk about, this ideal, like the idealism behind this is there is no concept of money, because when you actually think about it, money is just a piece of paper. If you're talking about cash, coins at least have an inherent value in the sense of the metal they're made out of. And if you're talking about debit cards and credit cards, well, that's literally just virtual. It's literally there is nothing. It is just a concept. But it is a concept that controls us all. And it is a concept that has led to such mass inequality in the distribution of resources in this world. Because the difference between the two communities that I spoke about from this book and our world right now is that in our world there is a huge difference in the way people live, in the resources distributed to people. So you have a small minority that is the super, super rich, that hoard a lot of wealth. And then you have another section that is the super super poor who can't afford to eat, can't afford to even have a roof over their head, can't afford clothes. And then you have the majority in the middle that are just kind of at different points of surviving and having different levels of wealth. And this is so ridiculous. This is actually so ridiculous if you think about it. Why is there, because of this concept of money that is not even real, you have this huge unjust system? Why? Why are people struggling on one side and other people who are literally wasting money? They might as well be using money as toilet paper for the way they waste money on the most stupid things. And I come from a background of having wealthy parents. But the thing is, they are self-made. And one thing that I always appreciate about my parents is the fact that they taught me and my sister and my adopted brother the value of money. They taught us that money is not something that you should disrespect. And they always involved us in financial concerns. So if our family was going through a time of financial difficulty, we knew about it. The kids knew about it, even when we were just in school. It's not like they didn't try to hide it from us. And they told us honestly that if we wanted something, they're like, we can't have that now because of so and so. But then later, when it's a birthday or a special Christmas special occasion, then they would give it to us. So they taught us the value of money and taught us and also because they went through that poverty. They came from nothing. When my parents got married, they had absolutely nothing and they had no support. My mother's family was against the marriage. They actually eloped because they're from two different religions. My father's from a Muslim family. My mother's from a Hindu family. And, neither family liked it. My mom's family was rich. My dad's family was very, very poor. When they got married, my mom and dad literally had to not just support themselves. They had to support my dad's family, which was made up of parents and his parents and three younger brothers who were all in school, I think. School or college. They were still studying, basically. And my parents got married right out of medical school because that's where they met. So they literally worked themselves to the bone. They didn't even spend much time together right after they got married because they were working in different... my mum was still studying and my dad was working in a private clinic in a very different area. So they were very far apart and they were working very long hours in order to support themselves and the family. My mum would tell me how she used to save money by basically eating, like if she had 5 rupees, she would spend 1 rupee on a parota, it's like Indian bread, you probably know it. It's paratha. It's said differently in North Indian versus South Indian. So paratha. So she would spend one rupee on that. She would eat that to satisfy her hunger, and she would save the rest. The 4 rupees she would save, and that's how they built their life. That's the value for money. And the reason I'm talking about that is a lot of people from rich families don't have that teaching. So the kids generally, and I think it's because the parents are so kind of so ashamed of their poverty that they want to forget about it. So if they've been the ones who have worked hard to become well established, self-made, rich, then they sorry, that's confirmation. They then are so ashamed of that, of their past, even though that it's nothing, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not their fault that they were poor, but I guess society always looks down on the poor and sucks up to the rich, and that is a very sad thing, but it is how life works, unfortunately, and that is something that needs to change. But anyway, let's come back to this. So people who do become rich are so ashamed of their poverty, and they're well intentioned, but they so want to protect their kids from having to go through what they did, that they end up kind of spoiling the kids. And then when you spoil the kid, it means the kids grow up entitled and having no respect for money. And usually, if you look at generations, it's usually one generation of people who are wealthy followed by a generation of that's not. Because what happens is the generation of people who are wealthy maintain that wealth because they know how they had to suffer, they learn how to save money, how to respect money, so money stays with them. But then the next generation will be these entitled kids whose parents never really taught them the value of money and protected them from the realities, which meant those kids never learned the lessons required to actually value money and be able to maintain money, because money stays where it's respected. And also, if you don't have respect for money, it will flow out and you will end up spending money and you will not know where the money went. Literally, it will come into your account and it will go out of your account. It will come in and go out. You will not save anything. And that is why it's so important to have some savings. I have actually bought myself a little, those metal boxes that you can slip notes and coins into, but you can't take it out. So I've got myself one of those because I tried saving money on in a different account, but I keep having to take out of it because I do have this issue as well. So I have made myself have this thing where I can't take anything out, and every day I put something in, even if it's 1p. So that is one tip, side note, but I'm going to come back and talk about this generations. If you look at it, you will see one generation being wealthy, the next generation being not. And then because they lose all the money, it means that the next generation actually have to learn to make money, right? Because they have to start from the bottom up. And they usually learn, they respect money, they build themselves up, and the cycle continues. So this is a cycle that we need to break by teaching our children how to value money. The sirens really distract me. Right, so I talked about valuing money right now. So, and I want to talk about it's really hard, but one thing that I really liked is this campaign that Greenpeace was advertising about putting a tax on the super rich, so millionaires, billionaires, where they are taxed, I think, 1% of their income. And I think that is more than fair, and that should go forward, because 1% of their wealth can save so many different people, so can help so many people. And if they're not willing to, can I just ask, what are you going to do with that money? Do you think you can take it with you when you die? Do you think that you can freeze your body and cryogenics, and is that that the plan? Let a scam artist just take your money because you think that in the future you may be resurrected from a dead, frozen body. I mean, that is beyond delusional right now. And also, there is this movie, Tamil movie, Onion. In it, this guy has multiple personality disorder, where his ego, his normal self, if I can call it that, he is basically the most loving, kind, harmless, simple person who sees so much injustice. He's a lawyer, and he sees so much injustice in the world, but he's unable to do anything about it because he, as a person, is very non-violent, and he's never says a bad thing to anyone, never does anything bad. So his alter ego kind of wakes up as another personality that he's not aware of, to deliver the justice that he is unable to. So this person called Onion, he's the alter ego that who does the vigilante work. That basically, one of these people that he punishes is a very greedy person who overcharges rent, and then takes money from very poor people who are unable to afford it, and then just because he's greedy. And Onion takes him and kind of starves him, and when he's like, I need something to eat, Onion gives this man a bunch of money, cash, and says, look, isn't this what you wanted? Eat this. So this man is so desperate for food that he starts eating it. He starts eating it, choking on it, and that's how he dies, basically. And that is such a powerful message of how meaningless money is, and you hoarding it in this life rather than allowing it to be distributed to the world as it should be. Just ask yourself, what is the point? What are you going to do? What is this money going to do for you? You only have one life. Do you really want to spend it by hoarding money and resources like this? And again, I want to say something that I'm not sure if I said it in a previous video that I was unable to record, or if I'm repeating myself. I apologize if I'm repeating myself. It's really hard to keep track. But it also reminds me of COVID time, when people started buying toilet roll and hoarding it, so that people actually ended up not having. There were in the supermarkets. There was no toilet roll. So this is, and you people, some people had masses of it just sitting in their house. Do you see how stupid it is? It also reminds me of the Ice Age and the little squirrel thing that hoards its nuts. But that, at least you can think, okay, it's for hibernation, etc. But yes, saving is important. Saving money is important, but hoarding it to a level where other people cannot have any. Other people are starving because you are hoarding it. Just think about it. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Until next time.